Thanks for bearing with us. We'll start the session now. So, hello everyone. I am Nikita, representative of Tantra Minds. A very warm welcome to everyone to this session. We are excited to be able to bring this informative and engaging discussion today. We know your time is really valuable, so we want to make the most of it. Thanks for shelling out time from your busy schedule and be a part of this webinar. So today we are presenting Automate Accounts Payable Process with Tantra Mind's Invoice Management platform. Now it gives me immense pleasure to introduce our today's speaker. So I would like to introduce Mr. Nitin Deshmukh. He is leading a product development team of Tantra Minds, and he's the key person in terms of development, execution, and solution architect. We will quickly run through our today's agenda, product and services offered by Tantra Minds, and the challenges in the process, and how our platform could be the solution to these. And there will also be a demo session to give you glimpse of our portal. And we will conclude this session by answering all your queries. So a little housekeeping before we start. So everyone, please feel free to type your queries and concerns in the question box during the session, and we will try to address them during the session and in the QA round as well. So without a further ado, we will turn the time over to Mr. Nitin to give you our audience insights of Tantra Minds and to run through the product. So over to you, Mr. Nitin.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Nikita, for the introduction. Yeah. So, am I audible, Nikita?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for the confirmation. So again, thank you, Nikita, for the introduction and welcome to all our participants today. So I hope you will find these sessions useful. So without further ado, we will kick off the sessions. So as mentioned in the agenda, we will first touch upon the challenges that account payable team generally faces, and then what we are proposing to overcome these challenges. Then also we will explain how we can overcome these challenges with the help of technologies, and then we will surely be opening up a forum for taking your questions, and then I will try to answer all your questions as much as possible. As Nikita suggested, so please feel free to drop your questions while we are going through the presentations. We will address them towards the end of the sessions, right? So just quickly about ourselves. So what we are and what we do. We are a technology and business consulting company. We are a part of a wider group called Amdan. Amdan is a SAP consulting and SAP business processes and implementation consulting. And we are a technology shoes or a product arm of Amdan, and we are a strong expertise in a technology as well as business processes, and then using these combinations we have developed a lot of product which can be integrated with your SAP application or any other ERP that you might have. And at the same time we address the specific business cases and certain values in addition of the various line of business. And I will spend not much more time. I will definitely share all our details with you after this webinar. But just to give you a certain highlight, what we are. So we are a global company. We have an operation in North America, UK, India, and we have a customer across the multiple continent. And we have a partner with Azure, AWS, SAP, and we work with closely with this hyperscale cloud provider, and we provide a various industry solutions. That quickly about us. Now coming to the next slide, please. Yeah, so as I said earlier, based on our business processes understanding and our consulting experience more than 12 years in the industries, across the multiple industries verticals, and our technologic knowledge, we have worked with the marketplace. We have a various exciting product to help to address the various business challenges. At the same time, we are providing our customers very cost-effective solutions to address their business challenges and help to improvise their business processes to make overall operations more effective. So today, as you know, our focus is on invoice management. So we are going to talk about how we can improve our account payable functions within a finance team, and what are the current challenges in account payable and how they can be addressed using the product quality and cost management. But we will have our subsequent webinar. We will have subsequent webinar on our other products as well. So please stay tuned. So in future, we will have a webinar with our other products as well. So now coming to our products. So we have a TantraMind ERP, so which is mostly focused on SME sector. Then we have a something called it a CS Collab, which we call it a customer collaboration and supplier collaboration platform. We consider the business partner as a key element or a stakeholder of your operations, business operations. As you know, the company would have a multiple customers and potentially the suppliers as well. So to be able to serve your customers better, we need to have a better combination of a collaboration across the boundaries of our organizations. So therefore, our collaboration portal, such as a customer collaboration portal, which enable complete order to cash process with the customers, it provide a facility to the customers as well as the dealers to automate their process. They will be able to supply their send their purchase order onto the portal, and our portal automatically validate those order and post this order, create the sales order in a backend ERP system. So basically, we call it as a self-service portal. Then we will have our supplier portal, which is essentially useful for the procure to pay process. So using the supplier portal, we can automate much more thing. So that we will see in our future webinar. Then we have an inventory management, which is a part of our ERP. And on top of that, we have a TantraMind's e-procurement solutions, where we have developed some auctions, RFQ events. So like that e-procurement facility we have. So under e-procurement, we have a vendor management, vendor performance report, then vendor onboarding facilities are there. If you want to do auctions, live auctions, so that auction also supporting in our e-procurement solution. And also on top of that, we have a pre-built analytics. So that analytics, which is help to plan our business activity. So this is a pre-built analytics. So this is weekly about our product. Now coming to the next slide, please. Yeah. Yeah, so before demonstrate our application, I would like to tell you about the traditional process, how traditional process could be painful and how this process will work. So in this slide, you can see the traditional process. This is a tedious and time consumable account payable process. Here you can see the account payable team is receiving the invoices from the different suppliers through the emails along with the post box. And once we receive the invoices with a post box through the courier facility, obviously we have to open the courier, then see those invoices, file those invoices on the desk. And then second way, you can see on the diagram, we are receiving the invoices on the email. But we know that right now we are following the traditional process. So obviously we have to take the printout of that invoices, and after printout again we have to file those invoices. And once the invoices get received at the account payable team, then account payable team has to bifurcate these invoices manually. They have to do two-way and three-way matching, and then after send those invoices for the approval. And then approval team will approve those invoices. While doing this activity, supplier usually start the inquiry for the status of their invoices because the due date is near. And but you can see the organization still is in the approval process. And after the approval, again that invoices we have to send back to account payable team. Then account payable team file those invoices, then post those invoices into the ERP. So this is a complete manual process. And if you can see at the bottom of the page, there you can see the timeline. So here you can see we are receiving the invoices. It could take 4 to 5 days. Then for the two-way matching, three-way matching, for the internal approval, again, it will take more days. So due to this company, and you know that by following this process, there may be a chance to miss the due date. And due to this, company may lose the discount, or company has to pay a due amount. So now you have seen how this process is painful. And in next slide, we will see some pain points while following this process. So now coming to the next slide, please, Nishan. Yeah, so in this slide, you can see the high cost for invoice handling, manual paper or spreadsheet based invoices handling, because here we are handling the hard copies of the invoices, the poor and time consuming invoice exception handling if we are getting a mismatch in a price and the quantity. So to overcome this exception, so manually it will take time. Then there may be a chance of a duplications, weak fraud protection, then insufficient control because manually we are doing all the activities, then lack of visibility, performance based on KPIs, high number of supplier inquiries because it will take a long time to process the invoices. So obviously suppliers started their inquiries to update the status of invoices, and due to this we have to pay a late payment fee, and in some time we could miss a discount for that. So this is the pain point in a traditional process. Now coming to the next slide, please. Yeah, so in this slide, you can see, uh, so so first, before going straight into the account payable process, let us look what happened upfront when user decided to buy something on behalf of the company. So in the left-hand side, you can see the pre-approved spend, and in following, you can see the user-driven spend. So we'll see what are there. So there are, so pre-approved usually implies that you have a purchase requisitions approval workflow before eventually you send the purchase order to the supplier. But as mentioned, there is also a user-driven process where your employees make a decision, a request to goods or services directly from the suppliers without a prior approval. So in this slide, we can see there are interesting survey as well from the financial consulting firm. They have taken a review of for 2,000 users for a different companies, and this is showing that even the company that are defined a policy with a defined pre-approval, but still 30% of user is not following the procurement policy. They will continue to purchase online, contact a supplier directly without raising the purchase order. And during the survey, some of the reasons or feedback we have received from the user, they were saying that it was a faster and convenient way, or had a more choice and got a less price as compared to other. But by following this process, we could miss our existing pre-configured process, but it create two different consequences for your company. So first one is that financial control. I see for you have no clues about this thing that is not pre-approved. You only discover it when account payable team enter those invoices into the ERP system. And second one is actually this will be impact on a way you deal with those invoices. Obviously, the invoices that are not related to the PO, meaning that they have not been approved, and then we will go in a approval workflow, and again it will take time to approve the invoices. Then we will see how Amazon will overcome these situations with the help of invoice management solutions. Now coming to the next slide, please. Yeah. So Amazon Invoice Management solution enable company to touchlessly process their supplier invoices without a human interventions by providing a digital workflow. And in this application, so please come to the next slide, please. In this application, invoice can be received electronically, and it converted from the paper to electronic. Then this application read the invoices from the account payable email ID. You can see on the screen as well. Also, we receive the invoices in the form of paper. Then we have to scan those invoices and upload those invoices in a shared drive. Then also we have a supplier portal. So using the supplier portal, supplier will be able to upload their invoices. We have our supplier portal as well. So by three way, supplier is sending their their invoices. Then Amazon Invoice Management is an intelligent document processing platform that uses artificial intelligence to understand the complex structure of the document. And by utilizing the advanced machine learning technology, Amazon AI-based OCR application learns how to capture the important data and recognize the pattern of a multiple format documents. This means that there is no need to create a new template for each and new document for the new supplier. If supplier have changed their format, so no need to worry about that. our application is capable to capture the data using the AI tools. And once the data has been captured, so please go to the next slide, please. Yeah. So once the data has been captured, invoice either match with the purchase order or good receipts, or they automatically rotate to the relevant team for an individual review and for the approval. And once invoice get approved, then that invoice sent back to the ERP or any accounting system that you might have. And then all invoices securely archived or for the audit trails, and all action taken on the invoices are easily available for the financial audit purpose as well. So electronically archival of the invoices also make easy to search for and find the invoices anytime and anywhere. So this is all about the application. Now coming to the next slide, please. Yeah. So this is the process flow of our invoice management solution. So that process flow divided into a 6-part: invoice receipt, data extraction, data validations, matching, exception handling, and post of invoices. So here you can see our application is receiving the invoices through the 3 different channels. First, we are receiving the invoices, paper invoices. Sometimes supplier sending those invoices with the material. So they couldn't send the invoices on the email. So at that time, we have to scan those invoices and feed those invoices into our shared drive. And from that shared drive, our application will read the invoice for the extraction. And second way is a PDF email. So using email, the supplier usually send their invoices on an email. Then our application's email bot automatically read the email and extract those invoices. And third way is a self-service portal. So we have our supplier portal where a supplier can log in. They will be able to see the purchase order. Also, they can upload their invoices PDF copy using the self-service portal. So here you can see we are receiving the invoices from 3 different channels. So once we receive the invoice, our application will extract the data using OCR. And once we extract the data, then we send those data for the validation. So first validation, you can see the duplication check. So we configured some criteria to check the duplication. So our application will automatically check the duplicate invoice. And if any duplicate invoice get found, then our application automatically trigger the email for that. And once the application successfully cross the duplication check, then it will go for the 2-way and 3-way matching, where we are matching the invoice with the purchase order. We are validating the price of the invoice. We are validating the unit of measures, the quantity, what we have received. Please stay on the slide. Yeah. And after that, the 2-way, 3-way matching, if we are getting certain exceptions. So for example, the price of invoice is not matching with the purchase order. So in that case, our application will trigger the exceptions and assign a work item to the particular approver. Then approver have 2 options. Either approver can approve the invoice or approver can reject the invoice. And once approver approve the invoice, then that invoice will automatically get posted into the ERP system. So this is the overall process flow of our application. Now coming to the next slide, please. Yeah, so this is the KPIs. So here you can see the time of processing of single invoices. So industry benchmark says the 17 days required to process any single invoice, but top performance company could you process their invoice within a 8 to 3 or 3.7 days. And the faster invoice processing compared to payment terms as well. So the second point is a cost of processing a single invoice. So in an offline process, it could incur a $10 to process the invoice. And using the platform, that price could be lower. Then number of invoice copies per day. So in the industry benchmark, they could process the 3,000 and 5,000 invoice per month. And using the applications or using the automations, so we could process the 8,000 and more than 20,000 invoices per month. And the exception rate, you could see that 22.6% is there. And here you can see that 8.7% is there. So touchlessly invoice processing improve the payment accuracy as well. Then percentage of invoices related to the purchase order. So we can improve the accuracy, as you can see the 75%. And using the application, we can touch the accuracy up to the 95% as well. So now coming to the next slide, please. Yeah, so this is the poll. So I would hand over to Priyanka, to Nikita to run the poll.
Thank you so much, Nitin, for your valuable insights. I would like to request our attendees to answer a quick poll before we start the demonstration. So the first question is on your screen. So what are the challenges are you facing in the purchase invoicing process? You can also select the multiple options if you want. Thank you all for the response. Over to you, Nitin, for demo.
Yeah, thank you, Nikita. Just a minute, I'm setting up my system. Yeah, so I hope my screen is visible for all of us. So we'll start the demo.
Yes,
Yeah,
sure, Nitin.
yeah. Thank you for the confirmation, Nikita. So, the routine job of account payable team is to see how many invoices they have received. Then they have to do a two-way and three-way match, and then send those invoices for the approval. So all this process is a manual and offline. But using this application, account payable team no need to open any envelope, no need to open an email, take a printout of those invoices, enter the data manually into the ERP system. So here account payable user has to open the application using the provided credential. Then user will be able to land it on the dashboard. So this is the account payable credentials. So right now, so during the demo, I'm going to play two roles. First role, as a supplier, I'm going to send the invoices on an email. Then I will play the role for the account payable clerk, and then we will demonstrate how account payable clerk will verify those invoices, then verify the business rules and do the two-way, three-way matching. So first of all, I will log in as an account payable clerk into the application. Yeah. So once I log in, I will be landed on this page. So as I said earlier, this application can read the invoices from the emails, shared drive, or from our supplier portal. So right now I'm logged in as a account payable clerk, and I will be landed on this page. And you can see on the screen there are four tiles. So we will see all these tiles in the details. And here below you can see the records that they received from the suppliers, and our application captured the data successfully. Also here you can see the invoice reference number is there, vendor number, vendor code, the code that we have uh, registered in our backend ERP system, the date and time of invoices we received. So from which email ID, from which supplier's email ID we received the invoices. So we could see here the file name of the PDF. And here you can see the extraction status, validation status, and invoice status. So first of all, I will start with the tiles which is failed to capture. So you know that in offline process to validate the invoice, so certain information should be available on the invoice, like the invoice number, invoice date, vendor name, and delivery date, and so on. So we know that to validate the invoice or to approve the invoice, we need certain information to be available on the invoice. And consider when we receive the invoice from the supplier and supplier forgot to mention the PO number, and so due to this we cannot do the two-way and three-way matching. So this tile indicate that when we receive the invoice and the application couldn't capture that mandatory information, so in that scenario our application will automatically send those file into fail to capture tile. As an account payable user, I want to see how many invoices we received, and our application failed to capture some data from that invoices. So as a account payable user, I can see those records in a fail to capture tile. So if I click on the fail to capture tile, then I will be able to see. So these are the list of invoices which is failed to capture some mandatory informations. Then second tile, we have a failed business rule. So if I click on that, yeah. So just a minute. Yeah, so you know that to validate the invoice, we have to do two-way and three-way matching with respect to purchase order. And also in non-PO scenario, we need to validate the vendor details as well. And to consider, consider we receive the invoice and our application successfully captured the invoice, all information which is mandatory for the validations. And if our application failed to validate certain business rules, so for example, we receive the invoice and supplier entered a wrong rate of wrong rate for the material on that particular invoice, and our application failed to validate that rate. So in that scenario, our application will send those records into failed to business rule tiles. And as a user, I want to see how many business rules got failed. Then here we have given one button. So if I click on that button, then I will be able to see the list of validations which is failed. So already we have pre-built 15 validations. So here you can see the vendor name we are matching. So we have received the invoice, and that invoice, the vendor mentioned their name as well. Also the vendor mentioned the GST. So in vendor name match, we are validating the GST number as well as the vendor number or vendor name that we have mentioned in our ERP system. Then the duplication check will do. Our application will do the duplication check. Then PO match. Sometime what happened? Some vendor enter a wrong PO number. So then it is necessary to validate the PO number which is belongs to that particular vendor or not. Then description match. So here we determine the line item. So line item of the invoice is exactly matched with the purchase order line item. So line item determination we do using this validation. The PO price, the price mentioned by the supplier on an invoice and the price available in the purchase order. So we match those price. So that's price validation is there. Unit of measure validation is there. So here you can see unit of measure failed to validate. Also here you can see the GR good receipt. We haven't received the goods from that supplier, but supplier sent their invoice for the posting. So here our application will automatically identifies which goods we received against the invoice or not. Then after that, usually we post this invoice into the ERP system. So right now you can see on the screen, this two validation gets failed to validate. That's why our application not posted this invoice into the ERP system. So like that, as a user, if I want to see the list of validations failed by the application, then I can see on this validation screen. Yeah. Then now coming to the previous page. Yeah. Then we have all tiles. So in all tiles, we have a fail to capture, fail to business rules, as well as the posted invoices. So in all tile, we can see all the invoices that we have received from the suppliers. And if we want to filter those invoices by the date, so here we have given the options. So by date, you can filter the invoices as well. So on this day, how much invoices we received from the suppliers. So we can filter those invoices. And then last tile, we have a posted up invoices. So once our application successfully captured the data or successfully validate the business rules, so in that scenario, our application will automatically post these invoices to the backend ERP system. And those posted invoices, we will be able to see in a posted invoice style. So as a user, I want to see how many invoices or applications successfully posted into the ERP system. Then as a account payable user, I can see all those invoices in a posted invoices type. So this is the overall application, and just I want to show you the details. So if I click on the details button, then I will show you how the invoice will look like. So once I click on the more details button, so it will open one new page. Yeah. So in this page, you can see in the right hand side, the invoice which we have received from the supplier. In the left hand side, we can see the extracted informations. So here you can see that we are extracting vendor name, vendor tax ID, then all the information like address, payment terms, so all type of informations we are extracting from the invoice. On the right hand side, we can see those invoices as well. So this is the invoice number that we have extracted from the invoice, and this invoice number will be visible in the invoice reference type. And likewise, we can see this is the customer purchase order number. So this is our purchase order number. So that purchase order number is available on the invoice. Our application successfully captured those data and filled those data in a appropriate tile. So this is the purchase order number. If I see the item details, so this is the item details we have. So if I click here, we have given the two buttons, expand right and expand left. So if we want to see the detail extractions, I click on the expand right, it will open the detail extraction view of the invoice. So here you can see our application captured the item information. So material code, our application successfully captured the material code, material descriptions, then unit of measure, ship quantity. Then also our application successfully determined the line item of the purchase order. So here you can see the purchase order number, and here you can see the which line item of the purchase order. So that line item we will be able to see in the line item tile. And sometime what happened, our application failed to identify the line items. So here we have given one options. So consider our application failed to determine the line item, and as an account payable user, I want to see the list of available line items under this purchase order. So I just have to click on this button. It will open the line item available inside the purchase order. So this is the line item available inside the purchase order. And if I want to see the purchase order, here you can see the purchase order number. So if I want to see the purchase order that we have posted in a ERP system, because for the validations, we are taking the data from the backend ERP system, then we are storing the data into our database, and then our application will validate the information. So already we have a data of purchase order, good receipts, and if we want to see the data of that purchase order that we have posted in a ERP, so I just have to click on the open button. So once I click on the open button, it will open the purchase order. So this is the purchase order that we have posted into the ERP system. And this is the details of the line item. So as a user, I want to see the details of the purchase order. I just have to click on the open button. It will open the purchase order in the next tile. Yeah. Then after that, here we have given two buttons, add a new line item and remove the line item. Sometime what happened, our application failed to capture any particular line item. So in that scenario, as a user, I want to add one line item which is failed to capture by our invoice. I just have to click on this add new line item. It will automatically add the line item below this line item. And then I have to again click on this line item field. Then I will be able to select the available line item in the purchase order. And sometime what happened, application by mistakenly captured a wrong line item. That's why we have given the remove button. So sometime application captured wrong items. So in that scenario, we have to remove this line item. So using this button, we can remove this line from the application. Then we have an invoice summary. So this is the total goods value, the tax code, then total GST, total tax value, then total invoice value. And here you can see some buttons are there. So if we want to see how many business rule validated by our invoice, so I just have to click on the view validations. Then it will show the list of validations. So this is the list of validations successfully passed by our applications. And here, if we want to export the data into the Excel, so we can export it into the Excel format as well. And some case application failed to validate the business rule, or in non-PO scenario, you know that we have to take approval from our authority, higher authority. So in that scenario here, we have given two buttons. Our application will automatically rotate the non-PO invoices for the approval. Then approver will approve those invoices. And after the approval, that invoice will automatically get posted into the backend ERP system. So this is the overview. So for the demo, I'm just sending one invoice using my email ID. So I'm playing a role as a supplier. I'm going to send one invoice to this application. Then we will see how this application will successfully capture the informations. Yeah. So just a minute, I'm going to set up my system. So Nikita, if you want to run the poll again, because I need some time to see the invoices. Hello, Nikita, are you there?
Yes, Nitin, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So
Hello attendees. Now I would like to request to answer the poll question. It will shortly appear on your screen. So it's how many invoices do you manually upload into your system on a daily basis? Thank you everyone for the response.
Yeah. So again, let me share my screen. I will continue the
Yes.
demo. Yeah. So right now I'm going to send one invoice to our application. So just I'm entering the email ID that we have for the extraction. So this is the email ID, and I'm going to upload the attachment for that. So this is the attachment. So as a supplier, now I'm going to send this invoice attachment to our application. So yeah. So again, I'm going to share my application screen. So it will take near about few seconds. It will take near about 15 to 20 seconds to read the invoice, to extract the data from that particular invoice. So I'm just click on the refresh button. So I will be able to see the invoice whether we have received or not. So once we receive the invoice, so my email ID will be appear here, and the file name also we can see here. Just click on the refresh button. So at a time, our application can read one invoice. So if we have received multiple invoice, so in a pipeline, our application will put all the invoice in a pipeline, and one by one, it will automatically read those invoice from that email. Yeah. So you can see on the screen, this is my email ID, and this is the invoice which we have received. So right now you can see the status of that particular invoice. So extraction status is failed, then validation status is failed. If I click on the refresh, because it will take time to run the validations and to check the extraction status. So if I want to see the what are the fields, yeah, so it will take time. So this is the invoice just we have received. I just click on the more details button, then we will see which are the field get extracted from that particular invoice. So as I can see, our application successfully captured all the details, but here you can see our application failed to determine the line item. So in that case, what I will have to do, I just have to click on the line item button. It will show the line item which is available inside the purchase order. I'm going to select this line item, click on the save button. So once I enter the line item of the purchase order, so so for the to enter the line item, I just compare this informations which is available in this invoice with the information that we have in the purchase order. So if I want to see the purchase order, I just click on the open tile. It will show the line item which is available inside the purchase order. So right now we have added the line item. So this line item belongs to line item 10 of the purchase order, and here we successfully captured the tax value as well. So right now I just have to click on the save button, because right now manually we have added the line item. So once I click on the save changes button, it will run the validations, and the list of validation we will be able to see. So again, it will take time. Yeah. So if I click on the back button, then we will see the status of that particular invoice. Yeah. So here you can see our application successfully validate the business rule. Then that invoice get posted into the SAP. If I want to see the list of validations, just a minute. It take times. Because application is rerunning the validation, that's why it may take time. So you can see like that way our application will work. So again, it will take time to read all those validations, and once the application validate all those data, then that invoice will automatically get posted into the ERP system. So Nikita, this is all about our application that we have. I think we will proceed for the question and answer sessions.
We have one more poll. Hello, Nitin. You
Yes,
hello.
Nikita.
Yes, yes, you
Yeah,
can continue, Nitin. After your round, we'll
yeah,
pop the poll.
yeah. So actually, we have received some questions in a chat box. Uh,
Yes, we
yes,
have received few questions. We will answer them in the QA session.
yeah, yeah. So actually, the demo part is over from my side. So yeah, so I think we should start the question and answer session right now. Yeah, so
Sure, Nitin.
first questions we received, sir, the portal, you mean the visualization of dashboard? Yeah, we could see the dashboard. So analytic dashboard we will be able to see on this application. Then we received, is there any single sign-on available for login to the system? Yeah, so actually we have our trial system. If you want to check your invoice extraction, so we will share a link with you. You could extract the data from your invoices and you could see the validations as well. Then we have received one questions. What about the PO based payment where there are the requirements of GRN and SES? Yes. So here we are doing the two-way and three-way matching in our applications. So once we receive the material and once we receive the invoice from the supplier, then obviously we do the two-way and three-way matching. And three-way matching, we are checking the quantity that supplier have mentioned in the invoice and the quantity which we have received from that particular supplier. Actually, we are synchronizing the data of good receipt with our application. Then our application will automatically do the two-way and three-way matching. It will check the GRN which has happened or not. Also, it will check the service entry sheet as well. Then yeah, is this solution only applicable to India or having a global invoice accounting? So this application will be suitable for all types of tax procedures. So it will support for India as well as other countries. Then what system are in place detect potential frauds or errors? Yeah, so first we have a duplication check. So using this duplication check, we stop the system to post this invoice or to validate those invoice into our application. Then in case of of uh, deletion of addition, will calculation is again done. So I couldn't understand this question. In case of deletion of addition, okay, so that's it. I hope I answered those questions. Also, we will provide one FAQ along with the product presentations. So you could get all the query, you could clear all your queries using this FAQ. Yeah. So I think that's all from my side, Nikita.
Nitin, I think there is one more question.
Yeah. How could
Will this, hello, shall I read it out, Nitin?
yeah, so how
Yes, yes.
can tool restrict the duplicate invoice? Just okay. I gone through these questions. I have
It's
missed
will the
all the
system support
give. Okay.
Will the
You
system
can
support PDF format only, or it can support another format also?
yeah, the system can support PDF as well as the image format. So if you have a image of your invoice, so you just have to send those image to our application, and our application successfully capture the data from the image as well. So image format could be JPG, JPEG, so all type of formats supported by our applications. Yeah. How ensure the invoice? How do you ensure that invoice are processed in a timely manner? Couldn't get these questions. Yeah, I think okay. One more questions we have received. Can a system identify digital signature e-invoice uh, on the invoice document? Yes, this system. So this system is a configurable, and this system is successfully so capture the digital invoice as well. So we have another add-ons. So if you want to add this add-ons to this application, so then our application will be able to identify the digital signature as well. Yeah. And also this application is connected with a GST portal of India. So if we have received the invoice from the supplier, and you know that supplier mentioned their GST number, and for the successful verification of the GST number, our application will check the data, that the data is available on the GST portal, and try to match the GST number that we have received from the supplier. So this supplier is connected with the government portal as well. Also this using this application we could get certain information, supplier has paid their GST or not, so like that information we could receive. So we have analytics as well. So GST information and GST related compliance will be followed by our application. Yes, Nikita.
Yes, Nitin, we have one more question in QA. So it's, what if inbox is flooded with incoming invoice, and how will your system handle it?
Sorry, just what is the system? Just choose. Could you repeat the questions? Nikita?
Hello?
Could you repeat your
Yes,
questions?
yes, Nitin. What if inbox is flooded with the incoming invoices, and how will your system will handle it?
So basically, for the incoming invoices, our application we have an email bot. So our application read those invoices from this email, whatever the email ID we have configured. And once we read those invoices from the email box, then it will keep those invoices into the shared drive. So digitally, we stored those invoices, and after this we post, we validate, we extract the data, and we post these invoices into the ERP system. Then again we receive one questions: can we upload the invoices through the API instead of email? Yeah, actually we have a standard APIs as well. So if you don't want to integrate your account payable email ID with this application, so using API, supplier can upload their invoices. We will provide one interface to the supplier. Supplier just has to upload their invoices, and using that upload, we will start our next steps for the extraction and for the validations. Yes, so APIs is there. So yeah, so basically we stored these documents into our SharePoints. We read those invoices, and after reading those invoices, we store this the invoice copy into our SharePoint. So SharePoint we are using for the storing of these invoices, storing these documents. Yeah, I think question is over. Yeah, Nikita, I think uh,
I think there is one more question in chat box.
can we view the document directly ERP system? Can we view this document directly from the ERP system through an API? Yes, we can view this document into the ERP system as well. So if you have a DMS, so we can, using the DMS document management system, the documents invoice which we have received from the supplier, And once we validate all those invoices and posted this, and once our application successfully post these invoices into the ERP system, at the same time we could attach the documents, the copy we have received from the supplier with that particular invoice that we have posted into the ERP system. And if we want to see another option we have, if we want to see the same invoice, so we could customize the SAP screen. We will give one link is there, and after click on that link, it will open the invoice that we have stored into our SharePoint system. So one link we can give into our SAP applications. So by click on that link, it will open the invoice that we have stored in our SharePoint. Yeah. So using API, we can do this. Already we have a standard APIs for that. And this application can be integrated with any ERP system. So if you might have Oracle, Microsoft Dynamics, and any other ERP, already this application is working on S/4HANA and ECC, and successfully captured the invoice and the business rules. I want to tell you about the business rule. So right now we have a 10 to 15, so basically 15 business rules we have configured for the PO invoices and 14 business rules for the non-PO invoices. So if you have any other business rules to validate those invoices, this our application is a totally configurable. So if you want to configure your business rule different than the SAP, so we can configure that business rule on our applications. And after that, we will post this invoice into the SAP system. Yeah. Yes.
Nathan, we have one more query in QA. Hello.
Yes, yes.
Yes. How do you manage invoice disputes?
Yeah. Um, how do you manage the invoice dispute? So yeah, so for example, we receive the invoice from the supplier, and subsequently we have done some rejection for that. So usually we are fetching the data for the good receipt. So on invoice we have mentioned the 100 quantity, but good receipt says we accepted only 70s quantity. So in that scenario, our application first will post the invoice for the total 100 quantity, then it will automatically post the subsequent debit notes for that particular invoice. Again, we receive one question. How accurate the invoice extraction is, and how many times as your experience you need to fine tune at the same time. So basically, sir, here we are using a latest technology developed by Microsoft. This is a AI-enabled OCR technology. We no need to train a particular format for that. Already, we have taken a standard format which is available in any ERP that in India we have, like Tally ERP. So we have taken the format from different ERP, and we train our system for that particular format. And also we are using the AI technology developed by the Microsoft. That technology will automatically capture the key information which is available on the invoice. So for that we have we have done some machine learning. Machine learning logic is there, machine learning and AI technology. Using that technology, our application successfully captured the data. So in terms of accuracy, I can say the 95 to 96% accuracy we have achieved using these applications. And if you try your format, if you want, then our application successfully captured those data from that invoice. So if you want to try, we will share you the link of our application. You just try the extraction of that particular invoice, and definitely, and I'm confident, our application will successfully capture all key informations that you have in your invoice. Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Nathan, for enlightening us. Now we'll move forward and we'll pop the last poll question on your screens. Like, are you interested in one-to-one demo of invoice management solution?
Yeah, thank you. Actually, we have received another questions as well.
Sure.
How we can club this one vendor management portal for the compliances, vendor management portal for the compliances of compliance management. Yeah, so and do we have a vendor management solution available with us? Yes, sir. Actually, we have a supplier portal as well integrated with the invoice management. So using this portal, supplier will be able to see their purchase order, good receipts, so all kind of informations available for the supplier. If you do any amendment in the purchase order, so our application successfully send the email for the amendment for that particular suppliers. And this solution is integrated with the vendor portal as well. So for the compliance point of view, our application will follow all the compliances for the vendor management. So vendor rating report is there, then vendor supplier registration, RFQ, auction. So all part is there. So the portal is managing all the compliances that we have. In the next webinar, definitely we will tell you how the compliances will follow by our applications in terms of GST as well, because vendor reconciliation report is there, so all types of facilities is available in the vendor portal. The vendor portal integrated with the invoice management solution.
Thank you, Nitin. Deep gratitude to all the attendees. Thank you so much for joining us for our webinar. We really appreciate your participation. Your question and comments really added value to the discussion. And please feel free to contact us for any inquiry or to know about our other products on the contact details mentioned on your screen. And once again, thank you everyone for attending this webinar. Thank you all. We really appreciate it.